right, so for a truth value, all right, truth value means that either the statement is always true or it's false. So when it asks you for a truth value literally just means true or false. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. You're probably like, why did we write that down? Because, I don't know, we did. All right, so for our statements, we have two types of statements. So I'm going to do kind of a line down the middle here. One statement is an and statement. These are going to be called, this is when we're combining statements. We have an and. Right? The other one we have is an or. Similar to when you are in LA, and you're in LA, you combine statements. You might say, you combine two sentences with an and statement, or you could combine two statements with an or. I just did it even while I was just talking. Crazy. Okay. So for an and statement, I'm going to use blue today for and. Again, you could use a highlighter if you wanted to instead. Our symbol for and is this like upside, I don't even know how to describe it, is this. Some people call it a caret key function. It's an exponent key on your calculator. It's like an upside down V. So when we see that upside down V, that means and, because we're not going to always write out that word and. We're writing it out in a shorter statement. An or is really similar. I'm going to use green for or today. So if you want to pick two colors, one for and, one for or. That doesn't have to be the same colors as me. Okay, Camille, Malaysia, focus. Hey, focus. Focus. All right, or is a regular capital V almost. So in your practice today and in our examples, we're going to see these symbols, and based on those symbols, we're going to know if it's an and statement or an or statement. All right, an and statement is called a conjunction. Now, conjunction starts a little bit with the prefix co. Does anyone remember, what does that prefix co mean? If you have a coworker or a co-teacher or together, yeah. So conjunction, it's kind of goofy because it kind of starts with co, means together. We're doing two things together. So when we determine the truth value of a conjunction, there's two options here. If you ask your grandma at home, Abdirman, put away your phone. Not you, Abdirman, other Abdirman. Thanks. You're good. If you ask your grandma, can I go to the movies tonight? And she says, you need to clean your room and do the dishes. If you clean your room and do the dishes, did you do your job? You did both? Yep. But if you only clean your room, will grandma be like, yep, you did enough? If she said you had to clean your room and do your dishes? No, you have to do both. So for an and statement to be true, all of it has to be true. All parts have to be true, and then we know the whole thing is true. They all have to be true in order for it to be true with an and statement. Where if one or more is false, Right? If your grandma says you have to do the dishes and clean your room, and you only do one of them, you clean your room, but you don't do the dishes, she'll say, nope, you didn't do your job. So if one or more is false, it's false. With an and, it has to all be true in order for it to be true. Give me 2 seconds, Malaysia. I'm not logged in yet. Sorry. All right, with an or is called a disjunction. Meaning it doesn't have to be together, it's a little bit more separated. All right, disjunction. So this time, if your grandma says, in order for you to go to the movies, you either need to clean your room or do the dishes. If you just clean your room, is that good enough? Yeah, because it was an or, you didn't have to do both. Could you do both? Yeah, your grandma would probably be really happy if you did both. But with a disjunction, because we have that separation of the or, this time, if one or more is true, then it's true. They can both be true, but you only need one to be true for a disjunction. And the only way that a disjunction would be false if everything is false. All is false. You don't clean your room and you don't do the dishes. You didn't do either one. You don't get to go to the movies. It's false. Okay, this is a really important part of today. So if you fell behind on that, that's going to be something you want to copy. Make sure you get that. We have one more big word today, and that word is negation. I'm going to use red for negation today. If you want to use red, you can, or maybe orange, or pink if you're using highlighters. All right, and our symbol for negation is it's almost like the start of a congruent symbol. It's that little squiggle. That's our negation symbol. All right, in a negation, if you negate something, you're saying no to it usually. But negation in this case is going to say the opposite meaning. A negation means to do the opposite meaning. We're keeping it really simple with opposite. So this is going to be mostly with our verbs, or helping verbs, technically. No, not helping verbs. I don't know the right words for verbs. All right, if I have something that you can do something, what would be the opposite of you can do something? You can't or you cannot. Either one. The opposite of do or does would be the opposite of doing something would be not doing or does not. Now I'm putting these arrows both ways because it goes both directions. So if we start with a does not, opposite of does not is does. Does is a weird word when you spell it out. Is that how you spell does? Okay. Second guessed it for a second. So if I have is not, opposite of is not is. Yep. All right, we're going to do 3 examples here, but this is kind of goofy. So what's going to happen is we're going to start with 3 statements, and then we're going to write 3 more statements. So it's kind of a lot of writing today. This first part of chapter 2 is a lot of writing. I don't know if you guys knew that. I don't think I told you that, but it is. All right, so for our example, we're going to have, I'm just going to write example here. That way I know that's what this is. We're going to have 3 statements. All right, so statement A, B, and C. All right, statement A, we have soccer is a sport. Statement B, it is trimester 2. In statement C, it is not July. So we're going to be combining these statements in different ways to create new statements. And then based on that new statement, we'll decide if it's true or false. But before we do that, let's just go through and double check if these are true or false just by themselves. So, is soccer a sport? Is that true or false? True. So you don't put a T there, or you could just write true. Okay. It is not it is trimester 2. Is it trimester 2? No, what trimester is it? 1. So is this true or false? False. Okay, this one's tricky. It's not July. Why is it true? Yeah, what month is it? September. So we have that not in there. That's going to be an important part later on. Give me 1 second, Naomi. All right, so we're going to come up with 3 examples here. So for our first example, we're going to rewrite these out as different things. I tried to keep them short. I know it feels like a lot of writing. You're not wrong. It is a lot of writing. All right, for statement 1, we're going to do this A, and then we're going to do that upside down V, B. Okay, thanks, Naomi, for waiting. All right, so I'm going to rewrite that out as a statement. So we start with statement A. What was statement A? Okay, so soccer is a sport. What does this symbol mean again? And, good. If you want to color code it with your and color, you can. I did and in blue. So soccer is a sport, and what do we have for statement B? It is trimester 2. I'm just going to say try to. That way I don't have to write that whole thing out. If you already wrote trimester, that's fine. But if you want to shorten it, you can say try to. All right, so that's our statement. Soccer is a sport, and it's tried to. So what did we determine as the truth value of soccer as a sport? That's true. What about it's tried to? False. So in an and statement, if I have a true and a false together, what's the overall truth value going to be? Good, because in order for it to be true in an and, they have to all be true. Good. So overall, this is false. All right, if you're running out of space, write really small. We got 2 more examples to fit in here. Try and fit them in if you can. All right, number 2. We're going to do B. And then this symbol, that capital V, C. So we're going to rewrite our statement using those statements we have before. This is what your practice is going to look a lot like. It'll give you a statement, and you need to fill it in. It's going to be a lot of fill in the blanks, so it's kind of goofy. So if you need help on it, let me know. What's our B? It's trimester 2. What does this symbol tell us? Or. I used green for or, so if you want to use green, you can. Or whatever color you used. Really? All right, and then what is C? You can go ahead and write that in right underneath. All right, so what is C? It's not July. Good. And then someone's here to pick you up in the office to go home. Or it is not July. All right, so let's go through our truth value for this whole full statement now. So is it trimester 2? So that's false. Is it not July? True, it's not. So now this time I have one of each. I have one false, one true. But it's an or statement. So is the whole statement true or the whole statement false? True, good. With an or, only one has to be true. I'm running out of space. It's fine. All right, last one, number 3. You guys are crushing this. We're going to do a B or. Oh, I forgot to say that part. We'll go back up and add that. When we do this negation, we use the word not. So not C. B or not C. So if you want a color code, you can. So we have our or. But we also have this negation squiggle. All right, so we're starting with B. B is, it is try to. or. Now we have to do the negation of C. So C said it is not July. So what is the opposite of it's not July? It is July. If you want to like kind of figure out that negation part, that's just that we switch it to it is July. Instead of saying is not, we switched it to that is. All right, so truth value, is it trimester 2? Nope, that's false. Is it July? Nope, that's false. So overall in this or statement, is this true or false? False. When we go back up for an or, in order for it to be true, one of them has to be true. So since they are all false, our answer is false. Before you close your books, don't close your books yet. We got to add one more little thing that I forgot. I was wondering why this was in there, and then now I know. Okay, that was false. That's false or false, so false. All right, underneath the negation part, the way that we say this, if you want to put it in quotations, so that way you know that this is what we're saying, we say this as the word not. I was wondering why that was in there. I was so confused. Okay, so when you go down back to that last example, you would read it as B or not C. So when you say this out loud, we read it as B or not C. How are we feeling? Making sense? All right, the practice today, it's like once you get it and like you kind of